Lost Island Theme Park in Iowa is one of the best themed amusement parks in the Midwest. It has a great atmosphere, a top notch dark ride, and some exciting roller coasters, and it's just down the street from a highly successful water park. However, the theme park has suffered from dreadfully low attendance, and I'm honestly puzzled why, because it's a wonderful experience. In this review, I will explain why you should go out and visit this park. The Birch family owned a local cabinet company. In the mid-1990s, they went on a family vacation in the Wisconsin Dells, which is arguably the water park capital of the world. The Birches wanted something like that back home. So they decided to build their very own park in Waterloo, Iowa, opening the Lost Island Water Park in 2001. This park has been highly successful. It not only has been loved by locals, but is often rated among the country's best water parks. Given their success, they began planning a theme park in the mid-2010s. We have seen many instances where a successful theme park opens a successful water park, but there haven't been too many instances where you first have a water park and then they build a theme park. Lost Island slowly began acquiring used amusement rides, most notably Kanonen from Lisa Burge. This sent shockwaves through the amusement industry, as people were genuinely confused what this water park in Iowa was doing acquiring a roller coaster. Then in 2019, they officially announced Lost Island Theme Park. The park opened just 3 years later in 2022. Costing $100 million, this would be a 90-acre park with 5 themed realms to different elements. I love how this park looks. It looks clean and fresh, which is what you'd expect from such a new park. It does have one con though associated with new parks though, a lack of shade. They have trees planted, but they just need time to grow. I imagine this will be resolved if you visit in the distant future. And as I noted, this is a true theme park. By purchasing a lot of used rides, the park was able to fully flesh out each attraction and area. Each area has its own distinct vibe and color palette. The lands are positioned around a central lake, so the park layout forms one giant loop. It is quite easy to navigate. Running through the lands, Mura is my personal favorite area. Themed of fire, rides are fittingly red and orange. Then the backdrop for the land is a large volcano that doubles as a show building for their signature dark ride. Accompanying that are some bedazzled walkways, and a motion-activated water geyser that erupts. One of the neat things about this park is how each land has an interactive feature of some kind. Continuing clockwise, you have the Utah area. Themed to Earth, rides here have green and brown colors. Then there are 2 iconic attractions in Matugani and Utah Falls. On top of that, there's a large tree that's part of the Totara Market Eatery, and some ruins in the center. Next is Awa, which is themed to water, so nearly everything is blue. The land itself is a mini island surrounded by water, and there are a handful of water features scattered about, including a spray ground. Adjacent to this is Udara. This is a wind-themed area with purple hues. This contains some of the park's larger thrill rides, which take you high in the sky. And in the center, you have the aviarium, which has all sorts of wind catchers on display. The final land is Tamariki, which is themed as spirits that maintain the balance of the other 4 elements. It is a fanciful and colorful land that functions as the kids' area. Then, top of the appearance, staff members here are exceptionally friendly. They are super sociable and will bend over backwards to make sure you have a great day. Now, what about the rides? The park currently has 4 different roller coasters. The best of the bunch is the new for 2025 Fire Runner. This is a single-rail Raptor model from Rocky Mountain Construction, or RMC. The layout is very similar to Stunt Pilot at Silverwood, but the trains were extended to have 12 cars. This not only improves capacity, but makes the back row absolutely out of control. This ride has some crazy ejector air time there. Then this is one of the fastest paced coasters out there. The pacing looks downright cartoonish off-ride. I think it took the crown for Iowa's best coaster for Monster, so this alone should have this park on a thrill seeker's radar. Next door is Matugani. This is an accelerator coaster from Intamin that formerly ran at Sweden's Lisa Burge. It starts with a decently punchy hydraulic launch. Then this is accompanied by a full layout. Unlike a lot of the other accelerator coasters, it brilliantly switches between airtime pops and hang time filled inversions, feeling more like one of Intamin's newer Blitz coasters. On the other side of the park is Nopuko. This is a Vekoma SLC relocated from South Africa. Whatever you do not ride this coaster in the front few rows. The rollover has the most painful moment I've experienced on any coaster. There's a terrible pothole that violently slams your head backwards. I know the park is trying to fix it, but they have not been successful yet. In the back half of the train, the coaster is tolerable thanks to the vest restraints, so it is possible to appreciate the disorienting barrage of inversions there. If you want more in-depth thoughts about Nopuko or the other two major coasters, I have full reviews already published to the channel. The final coaster is Lokolo. This is a standard wacky worm. It is a fine kiddie coaster for kids that adults can ride as well, whether it be to accompany their kids or to get the coaster credit. Although, if you put a lot of adults in the train, this ride may overshoot the station, extending your ride an extra lap. This has happened to both myself and a few other coaster enthusiasts. What this park really needs in the future though is a true family coaster. After Lokolo, the other three coasters are all intense rides with inversions and a 48 to 52 inch minimum height requirement. They need something with a lower height requirement and a lower thrill level to bridge the gap. They teased one last year, but I would love to see an RMC Wild Moose here. That would be a perfect fit. The park's best family attraction currently is their lone dark ride, Fulcanu. This is an interactive trackless dark ride from ETF with set designs from Sally, and it is a spectacle. The ride is filled with 3D screens, there are plenty of targets, and they're all responsive. Then in between, there are physical set pieces and effects. This includes some large animatronics, a fire blast, and even a moving screen. And there's a cohesive story carried through the pre-show and attraction itself. I honestly don't think this ride would feel out of place at a Disney or Universal park. That is just how well done it is. If you're feeling the heat, and you very well might because of the lack of shade, there are two water rides available. The larger of the two is Utah Falls, an interlink log flume. The course is a little barren right now, but there are two drops. They are on the shallower side, but they have good height and speed at least. And that second one has a nice themed structure around it. Then the resultant splash gets you very wet. Then there's the Awadi Water Battle, which is a splash battle attraction. These rides rely on the participation of riders and onlookers to fire water guns at each other. Now unfortunately, I never see a crowd by this attraction, so it ends up being a pretty forgettable experience. Moving on to the flat rides, the park has some notable ones. Skyborne is a large drop tower. It is the park's tallest ride, standing 180 feet or 55 meters tall. It also was the original SNS Turbo Drop when it opened back at the Buffalo Bills Resort. This one has a cool pre-show about a levitating city, and I like how the view overlooks the park. But the drop is below average for the genre. It is rather mild, only offering some okay floater. Then the initial release is spoiled by a weird downwards hitch. I go into more detail about this in a separate review. Amara Aviators is a Gerstlauer Skyfly. This is a unique ride where guests can use their body weight and paddles to manually invert their vehicle. You need to have patience, coordination, and timing, especially since this one has more resistance than some of the older installations. But if you perfect your technique, you can get dozens of flips in quick succession, which is ultra dizzying. If you want guaranteed inversions, there is Mura Fury. This is an inverting frisbee from Moser. It oddly does not spin, but the ride has several inversions, each of which have plentiful hang time. Rokava is a top spin from Moser. This ride used to be good, providing a mix of slow hang time filled flips and quicker, more forceful flips. But the cycle was altered in 2025 to remove all the inversions. This seemingly defeats the purpose of this type of ride, so hopefully this is remedied in the future. Then the park has a few spinning rides. I think the best of the bunch is Shaman's Curse, which is a fun disco coaster alongside the water. It offers a solid spin, particularly when you're yanked over the central hump, and those spikes offer a pinch of weightlessness. The final flat of note is Alzanu's Eye, which is a large Ferris wheel. It is the park's best observation ride by far, as it offers a wonderful 360-degree aerial view of the park. Then kids will find a majority of their rides over in that aforementioned Tamariki area, but there at least is something for them to do in each area between an attraction with a low minimum height requirement and or an interactive play area of some kind. There are 3 operational issues I have noticed in my visits though. First, a few rides are quite finicky. For example, Shaman's Curse needs to wait 5 minutes after the restraints come down before they can fully lock, and a few of the other flats are prone to faulting if a larger guest tries to board. Second, this park has a lot of breakdowns on my visits. This has included some flats being closed entirely each visit. Then I've seen each major coaster closed for a few hours each visit. My friends who have visited the park have run into similar issues, so just keep this in mind if you're trying to speedrun the park. I do wonder if these 2 issues are related to the park acquiring a lot of used rides. This allowed the park to save some money with the physical hardware. This allowed them to put a larger percentage of the budget towards theming, so it might have been a trade-off. Third, this park has a really cruddy policy at the end of the night. This is the exact same one found at their water park. Each ride's last cycle will occur just before the official park closing time. I prefer when a park keeps their queues open until park close and then allows everyone to ride, but I understand some parks only staff people until closing, meaning they need to close the rides early. 99% of the time when parks do that, they will close the queue early, meaning anyone in line gets to ride. Lost Island is the 1%. They'll keep the queue open, but not everyone will be able to ride. Fortunately, this park is usually quiet enough that this does not come into play, but it can leave a sour taste in your mouth if it does happen. I really hope they revise this policy in the future to match what other parks do. Beyond the rides, this park does not have any live shows, but they do have some midway entertainment. This includes some walk-around characters roaming the different realms, and some live performers, most notably, Fire Twirlers in 2025. Then if you're looking for food, I think the offerings are above average for a regional park. There are some unique items here, or if you have simpler tastes, there are all the classic items like burgers and fried chicken. Now, despite their solid attraction lineup and nice theming, this park has struggled mightily with attendance. In the short term, this is great for visitors, as it means you won't have to wait for anything. In the long term, they need higher attendance to be sustainable. The water park is really propping up the dry park right now. Why do I think this park has struggled with attendance? I think there are a few things to consider. The number one issue people point to is this park's location in Waterloo, Iowa. This city has less than 70,000 residents. However, I do not think this is the primary factor. Keep in mind, the water park, which is literally just down the street, pulls good attendance figures. But the location of the theme park relative to the water park has been an issue. Many theme parks build their water parks directly next to each other. Guests can readily see both parks, and it's easy to go between the two. Lost Island's parks are down the street from each other, 1 mile apart. While you can see the tallest rides at each park from the other, you kind of have to be looking for them. Otherwise, it's easy to get lost in the atmosphere of the individual parks. The park admitted they did not spend much on marketing at first, because they assumed people visiting the water park would see the theme park and naturally want to visit. But it seems that many people who came for the water park stayed exclusively over there. While there is a park hopper ticket, I'm not sure how many people have purchased these because of the annoyance transferring between the two parks. Not only have most people needed a car to go between the two, but you have to pay for parking twice. This is because the theme park and water park have different parking systems. Each costs $10 per vehicle, and there's no re-entry either. While I would love if parking could transfer between the two, Lost Island at least began offering a free shuttle between the two in 2025. Hopefully this helps get attendance over to the dry park. I also think the price point has gotten a lot of flack. Whereas the water park is widely considered to be the best of its kind in Iowa, the state already had a large, established amusement park in Adventureland. While that park cannot match Lost Island's theming, it does have more rides. Not only that, Adventureland also tends to be cheaper. You can often find online ticket deals for Adventureland for $30 to $40. That price point is valid for both their amusement park and water park together. Lost Island's theme park alone costs almost $50 per day. Then a one-day park hopper costs roughly $60 per day. Or you can buy a 2-day pass for each park for $75. I do think this pricing is fair given what the park offers when comparing it to the parks across the country. Theme parks tend to cost a bit more than pure amusement parks. But the area where Adventureland really has an advantage is in the season pass pricing. The lowest tier Adventureland season pass costs roughly $100. Then the highest tier pass, which gets you into Adventureland and a dozen other parks, costs just south of $200. Lost Island's season pass, meanwhile, they cost roughly $200 for either the theme park or water park alone. If you want both, it costs $375 per person as of 2025. That makes it one of the more expensive annual passes out there. The trade-off is that you'll likely experience limited crowds at the theme park, even on weekends. Meanwhile, a season pass plus a one-day skip-the-line pass at some other parks will eclipse Lost Island's season pass price alone. When you view it in those terms, the price point suddenly looks more favorable. How much time do you need at Lost Island? With their current crowds, you can comfortably do all the park's major rides in a half day. That is even without a special touring plan. Given the minimal waits, you can experience this park at your leisure in any order. I know quite a few coaster enthusiasts try to combine this park with Adventureland, which is roughly 1 hour and 45 minutes away, and is quite doable, especially if one or two of the parks have late hours that day. But both my Lost Island visits have occupied a majority of the day, since I thoroughly enjoyed the theming and reriding their top 2 coasters. If you're a water park fan, I would recommend buying a park hopper. If you visit on a weekend when the theme park is extended evening hours, it is quite easy to combine both parks in one day. I recommend starting with the water park. That is because they have the shorter hours and longer lines. Then, you can switch to Lost Island in the afternoon, having plenty of time to hit all the rides there. If you'd prefer to give yourself 2 full days, there are hotels in the immediate area. Then the park even has its own campground available. So do I recommend Lost Island Theme Park? I sure do. This is a great park. It is a genuine theme park with a nicely themed realms. And then the attraction lineup is solid. Fire Runner and Matugani are a strong top 2 coasters, making this park a must for thrill seekers and coaster enthusiasts alike. Then there are some good non-coasters as well, including some thrilling flats and that immersive dark ride. Add in the friendly staff and short lines, and this results in an enjoyable and relaxing day. I just hope people start making their way out to this park. The park deserves higher attendance with all the love and effort that went into this place. And I imagine this park can only improve as they continue to add some additional attractions. They just need people to start visiting them to keep the investments flowing. Those are my thoughts on Lost Island Theme Park, one of the best themed parks in the Midwest. What are your thoughts on this place? Have you been there? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you consider subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.